Well, hello, welcome to Tara Tooney. Today I've got a very special guest. It's a surprise. No idea who it is. Drumroll. The Kiwi.
Hello.
Yes, welcome to my humble abode. Welcome to Tara Tooney.
Thank you.
Are you excited to see some cursed content today?
Always. I'm always so excited to see cursed content.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
A bit about myself.
Yeah, what is the queer Kiwi?
I am queer. And I'm from New Zealand, so I'm the queer Kiwi.
Yes.
And I just do a bunch of stuff like this. I just react to a bunch of stuff on my channel.
Stuff.
Cursed content and torturing myself and thus everyone who's watching.
You're a masochist. Is that right? Masochist? And then sadists are the people that are...
That like having...
bad stuff happen to others, right?
I don't.
I got corrected for it once in one of my very early videos. I said one of them and people were like, actually it's sadist or masochist. I said the wrong way around. And now I'm very self-conscious about it. I don't know if I'm using the right one.
No, I don't either. I just fake it till you make it.
Yes.
The
Just
way.
say it with confidence.
Yeah.
Like you could say something completely wrong.
Yeah.
Like, Brett Cooper's channel is awesome. Did I say that confidently?
You said it confidently, and I almost believe you.
Okay. So, as you might have guessed, we are going to be looking at some content by a person called Brett Cooper, aka Femme Shabibo. The thing I find fascinating with her is that I think it's kind of like, I wouldn't say astroturfing, because astroturfing is like when you've got people from the opposite side of the political aisle pretending to be the other side to make them look bad, whereas hers is kind of this faux, authentic, hello fellow kids, I'm a Twitch streamer even though it isn't streamed live. It's in a studio but they make it look like it's in a bedroom. It's like a boomer trying to make a little Gen Z in a potion.
They still do the like editing like vines and memes and stuff randomly
Very
into them.
old school, which we'll see a lot of today. Speaking of boomer, there's a specific video that I really wanted to take a look at, and the title is "This is Disgusting." Full stop. It's about a mod you can get on Sims. Now, if you're not familiar with Sims, get your life together. But if you aren't, a mod is like a little custom thing you can make, whether that be clothing, whether that be like a personality trait or activity. So for example, I've heard some really wacky ones where death is like your sim dying of a drug overdose. And you made a really good point earlier before we started filming. The whole point of Sims is to torture and
Yeah.
watch them die, right?
If you're not putting people in a pool and then removing the ladder,
Yes,
you aren't playing right.
You are. I completely agree. So let's just bear that in mind before we start this video. But yeah, it's a pregnancy terminator mod, so it's an abortion mod. I'm assuming it means your sim gets pregnant and then aborts it.
That would be the logical conclusion.
But let's see what she's got to say. It's a short but sweet vid, and I'm sure it'll be a banger. Are you
As
ready?
they all are. No, I don't think I'm ever ready to watch these. This is why my intros are always so long. It's just me putting off watching the videos for as long as possible.
Just gonna have a sip of my tea. Shall I ASMR it?
Welcome back to the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. Guys, I've been playing video games recently.
Multiple camera angles. Sorry, I know I'm doing that
But we're in a
thing.
bedroom though.
But we're in a it's really authentic. We're in a bedroom. There's so much going on here. Like, it really is, hello fellow kids, this is the bedroom.
It's wild, but they think they can get away with it because she is young. I think she's born in like 01.
July 2nd,
Oh.
2002.
So she's 20.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because she also makes videos talking about like, when I was in high school, I did this. I'm like, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
I mean, anyway, let's see.
Obviously, you have seen the videos. I did Resident Evil 7, whatever that thing was called, that horrific, traumatic game. I've also played some Call of Duty. Super sick. Shot some things, was great. But now I'm going to go back to my roots, and we are going to talk about The Sims.
love
But
The
before we get into the
Same.
story, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not already, ring that notification bell, and of course, you can go to dailywire.com/Brett to check out my merch collection. I used to play Sims.
She's got her own merch collection?
Apparently.
Slay. She's girl bossing.
On my mom's phone. I had Sims free play downloaded in addition to like some random horse grooming game that I had because I was not allowed to have a phone. I didn't have a computer.
She's a horse girl.
She's a horse girl.
So when we would be in the car sometimes on road trips, I would be allowed to use her like first generation iPhone to play Sims free play. And I remember that every time I had like a crush on a guy, I would make him in Sims and like force him to be with my Sims. It was like a whole ordeal. I think I also had one of the original Sims on an old desktop that was in my mom's office. I don't know, but I've played it years and years ago. Have not even thought about Sims recently. But
Lies. Of course you thought about Sims. We all think about Sims.
Think about Sims all the time.
I think about Sims when I wake up. I think about them when I make my morning tea. I think about them when I'm on the loo. I think about the Sims when I'm in my shower.
Sims on the brain. Sometimes I wonder if I am a Sim.
Yeah. Like right now, I would be stuck and I'd be like, blah, 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 blah. Like I would die in The Sims because I wouldn't be able to get out right
No, they've
now.
trapped you. And your little hunger thing keeps going and then you just die.
Yeah.
a subscriber, a wonderful girl named Mel from Australia, sent in some wild
Australians.
content about Sims 4. So Mel, this is for you. Thank you for sending it in. So apparently, there is a game mod for Sims 4. It is called Wicked Whims, and it basically makes the game R-rated and gives you a ton of new features, including being able to have an abortion. And in doing some research, it looks like this is not the first mod that is, given you this feature, but this is the one that is most popular and has gotten people talking about it. Here is the Reddit post that Mel sent me. It says, "Hasta la vista, baby." And then this person posted a screenshot of their sim immediately having an abortion. She's doing some flirty nonsense. She's not wearing a shirt. She's like... And then it says, "Hasta la vista, baby," from pregnancy termination. It's boosting happy. It's boosting flirty. And then it says, "When the stress is gone, the party can go on."
I don't know about you, but I think that's fucking fantastic.
I think it's very cool. I love when the stress is gone, the party can go on too.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant little motto there. Like, you can apply that to so many areas of your life, and it's truly brilliant.
That's how I felt when I finished my taxes last week. The stress was gone and then the party went on. And by party, I meant I slept for 3 days after. She looks so pissed off.
She does.
She's like, "I can't believe a virtual character that doesn't exist had an abortion."
I love being against bodily autonomy even in a virtual
I know.
world. You played Call of Duty, where you were like, shot a bunch of people.
What? It's like, you don't believe in murder in real life, right? Like,
It doesn't-
it's a game. It's a game.
You can't be playing shooting games and being like, murder, stealing cars and shit, and then, what do you mean? My sim had an abortion. That's so messed up.
So we're saying that the moment you have an abortion, it's like, woo! Yeah, back to the club. Right now, let's...
It is for that sim.
It is for them.
Probably because of her personality.
Yeah.
She's got a flirty, go party girl personality. You can make your sim whenever you want, Brett. That's how it works. That's how the game works.
It's not real.
Run it back. Let's do it again.
Here we go again.
I mean, this really is just...
What was that? No, wait, let's watch that again.
So we're saying that the moment you have an abortion, it's like, woo! Yeah, back to the club. Right now, let's run it back. Let's do it again.
Here we go again.
I mean, this really is just disgusting.
I mean, whoever's editing this isn't her age.
I mean, like, our culture is so far gone if we think that this is just a joke. And I'm all for comedy and humor and that sort of thing, but this really does disgust me. And
I don't think you are all for comedy or humor.
No. Especially because this also isn't like a comedy humor thing either. This is just a thing.
Yeah. She is what they would say triggered. It's really not that deep, Brett.
it just makes me glad that I do have companies, organizations that I can support that take a stand against this, like Nimi Skincare. But if you guys didn't know,
That was a brilliant transition.
That was
fantastic.
And the different camera angle as well. It's almost like it was planned.
It's almost like this is filmed in a studio.
Yeah.
a world when people are making jokes about abortion and trying to normalize it into something that is flirty and silly, I'm just very happy to know that I have these organizations on my side. Apparently, though, this is just one reaction that your sim can have depending on what traits or orientation you have for that.
So it's one reaction. She just doesn't want that reaction. She only wants one type of reaction to abortion, and that is it should be illegal. That's the only reaction.
The only reaction, because all people are the same. We all have the same reactions, and we all feel the same way about things. We all do the same thing. So any reaction that is different is the one we talk about. It's the bad one.
We get very angry about it, even if it's virtual.
Specific sim, so they might have different responses. Somebody said, "What are her traits?" "My sims are always crying in the bed after that." Yeah, because that's what real life is like, actually. Thank you very much.
You're getting angry at a Reddit comment that's Girl, go outside.
People don't play Sims to have like real life responses.
No,
like it's a life
the
simulator, but they do it to like just fuck around effectively.
And you don't go to be morally...
No, I used to go on to see how big I could make my family. I'd like make
Yes.
2 people who were strangers who hated each other.
Yes.
Try to get them to fall in love and then like have as many kids as possible.
And so many affairs in front of their children, which
Yeah.
is inflicting trauma on
Everything.
children, but it's not real.
It's not real. My Sims always cry in bed after this. That's how it is in real life. That's not the point of Sims. I
No.
also want my Sims to have like insane reactions to things.
Yeah, it's funny.
Somebody replied and said, if they have the family-oriented trait, they will regret it and become very sad. So I made sure to never have those types of Sims have an abortion. Like, that just weirds me out. Like, I'm not gonna have them be family-oriented. Like, sir, do you do this often? Enough that you have learned what Sims are better to have abortions than not? Is this just a very normal thing? When we talk about progressives being experts at normalizing their issues and inserting them into culture effortlessly, this is it. Because everybody on this Reddit thread is going, ha ha, this is so funny. Oh my god, I make my Sims have abortions all the time. It's so funny.
So it's a mod. You choose to get it. It doesn't come with the game, Brett. You don't have to use it.
No. Like, again, the people who got it are doing it just to have an extra thing to do in Sims because it's
funny.
fun to just do shit because you can. There's a mod for everything. If you don't like it, don't get it.
I don't care if it's a game. We're talking about a real life serious issue. I don't care how much propaganda you've seen, how much you've been gaslit. After an abortion, a woman is not feeling flirty and trying to go back to the club. I found some of the other like responses that a sim would have on Twitter. There's
She's
one that
there
says
though.
true.
It's funny because she's trying to be like anti-abortion or whatever, but she's like, this is a serious thing. When women have abortions, they're not going to the club, they are crying at
It
home.
can be very traumatic.
And it can be traumatic, which is like
So we
very
agree.
true. So we agree. But like she hasn't explicitly said that abortions are wrong, which is
Yeah.
really interesting.
It is. I think compared to her counterparts at the Daily Mail, I think she poses as like a more centrist. She's not a centrist because so much of her content is just like transphobia, like misgendering people in the titles and stuff. However, I think she's trying to appear more centrist and more like Gen Z kind of. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I keep yawning. Brett, you're boring me.
Maybe they'll have a solemn moment. The end. One says, have not forgotten. There's another one that boosts angry, and it's how dare they judge. It says, Marie's termination of pregnancy was made really difficult by the people outside of the family planning hospital who were criticizing her and yelling. They had no idea what she's been through. She'll be relieved eventually, but for now, she is in shock and angry. Yeah, let's talk about those pro-lifers outside of Planned Parenthood or whatever. Other people in the sub...
Yeah, let's talk about them.
Let's talk about it.
They harass people when they're about to go through a major medical... Well, sometimes it's major, sometimes it isn't. It depends what sorts.
Yeah, and some people literally just go to Planned Parenthood to get like STI checks and
Yeah.
stuff too. And they're being harassed. Like, don't get an abortion. I'm not even here for that.
Yeah, literally. When I was at uni, there was Marie Stopes nearby, which is like a family planning clinic. And every day there would be people praying outside of it. The same people, the same dude. And not to sound like a Tory, but I'd be like, do you not have a job?
We had one of those on like a main street back home. There are these like 2 old people who sit there and just yell at everyone about going to hell and stuff. And I'm like, how are you doing this every day?
Yeah, how?
How are you doing this?
Reddit, we're a bit more brazen and really leaning into the happy, peppy, flirty abortion mood. Somebody said, thank God, I was so tired of the abortion option bringing my Sims days-long sadness buffs. Somebody else said, real life people, terminating a pregnancy should be a right for any woman for any reason, but it's not a casual decision that people make lightly. You are making a life choice for a potential person. It is not a joke. Wicked Whims players, knee-deep in disassociation and melodrama. LOL, bye bish. Somebody else said, I mean, I think people can casually make any decision they want. Their life, their body. Life should be more like Sims, where no one cares what everybody else is doing. No, I really...
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this is the thing, because obviously 2 things can be true at once. You can say that in many cases, or even more common than not, abortion can be traumatic, and I think a lot of the reason for that is because of the societal reaction to it. However, you can also acknowledge that for some people it is just a bit more casual, like especially if it's in the early stages where you're taking a pill. Like some people, they don't have like a major reaction and it's kind of like not very traumatic, and that shouldn't be stigmatized either. If you feel nothing after your abortion, or if you feel relief, that's also
That's fine too. Yeah.
I have a feeling she wouldn't agree with us on that. Let's see
I
what
don't
she's
think so.
Not like life to be more like The Sims, where we're all just happily going around and killing babies. Thank you very much. That's just gross.
I still don't get this of like her talking about playing other video games and like killing people. I don't know why that's her points are very conflicting.
Yes.
That's the thing with conservatives though, is that they're all just the most hypocritical people ever.
It's like when you're playing Call of Duty, you're not crying over every person you've shot.
No.
And you shouldn't.
No.
It's a game.
Your character doesn't go home and cry about murdering people.
No.
So why do you expect them to do it in Sims for an abortion, which is not
murder.
Going out and murdering a bunch of people. No. So I don't...
Somebody else said, LOL, not the abortion making her flirty. Somebody else said, different strokes for different folks. You don't have to find it funny, but the rest of us do.
Yeah.
Somebody else said, okay, but she is just like me for real. Fetus deletus.
Fetus deletus. Wait,
that's
she's
hilarious.
including a clip from The Incredibles.
Life should not be...
See, that's funny because we've seen The Incredibles.
Mm-hmm. That's hilarious. That's what makes it funny.
That's good editing.
Mm-hmm.
More like The Sims, where you can just make mistakes or regret decisions and then just hit delete and avoid all responsibility. That is a terrible habit to have.
Yes, that's the game, Brett. It's a game.
That is what games are for. It's about, you know, the fact that it's not real.
It's not real.
It's not real.
It's okay.
That is a terrible thing to normalize. The Sims themselves, the game creator, they have not made abortion a regular feature of the game, but they have very publicly supported abortion rights. This tweet is from June after Roe v. Wade was overturned, and it said, "We understand that today is hard. As a first step, we want to connect you, our community, to a few resources that can help you at this time." And then they have this little infographic, and they say, "We understand that today is hard. For those who play The Sims, the game has always been about being who you want to be."
I love how she reads this in a mocking voice, like Roe v. Wade has just happened. Major thing that has fucked so many people. And you're reading it like in this blasé, mocking tone. Like, who's the one making light of abortion rights now, Brett?
Yeah.
Loving who you want to love and creating the life you want to live. Our game is a reflection of our unwavering belief that everyone has a right to choose how they want to live their life without judgment, including the right to bodily autonomy. As a first step, we want to connect you, our community, to a few resources that can help support you at this time, and then they link a bunch of abortion stuff. Somebody commented and said, "Why can't you get an abortion in Sims 4? What is this, Texas?"
That's good. That's funny.
That's
funny.
hilarious. That's genuinely very funny.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, if they introduced it into the main game based, I would celebrate.
That would be so cool.
That would be awesome.
I want to play Sims again.
Yeah, I know, this got me in the mood.
Calm down. That is the least of your problems. Somebody said, "Why bring so much politics into the game? The Sims is a game. Stop bringing politics into a life simulator that already has the liberty to do everything we want." Absolutely based. Somebody else said,
"No, Brett, I don't think you understand what based means.
No.
That's not based. Based is when you're being, when you've got, a nice political take. That's not based. That's, weaselly little, don't bring politics into a game.
It's not bringing politics.
It's not.
It's not.
You're the one who's inflicting the politics. Abortion's a medical procedure.
You're making it political.
Yeah.
And also, no one's forcing you to, you have the game. It's an option to do. But as you say, the thing about Sims is that you get to make choices to do whatever you want. So if you don't want to have an abortion in the game, you just don't do that.
And Brett, it's not even in the game. It's a mod that you have to go out of your way to...
You have to specifically go and find the mod and add it to the game. It's not even there officially.
Holy smokes.
"Not all your players agree, should stick to making the game enjoyable for everyone and stay out of politics." I 100% agree, and I was very happy to see that most of the comments under that post were people going "I really don't care. I don't need my, online game telling me what to think about politics."
I really don't care. I think you do care.
I think you do
I
care.
think you're very pressed. You're the most pressed right now.
This is an 8-minute video where she has literally just said the same thing 10 times.
Yeah.
She's had one point.
Well, she needs to bulk it out because 2 minutes of it was a sponsor read.
That's true.
So she's got to bulk it out a bit, you know. And some of that is movie clips.
Yeah.
But she's got to talk for a bit.
She's got to talk for a little bit.
It is her job, which I'm sure she gets paid quite handsomely for.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah, I mean, look at that studio. It's not cheap.
I think that's her bedroom.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot. It's really authentic.
Mm-hmm.
This is just ridiculous. But then, of course, there were a couple of comments like this. Somebody replied and said, "Add abortion as a feature in the free update. Help normalize the right to bodily autonomy." I mean, I kind of appreciate that this person wrote this comment because they're not even hiding that this is how they move the needle and normalize things. I can't even be angry because they are good at it. This is what the left does. They are able to insert their agenda into every single aspect of our culture and society so that, years down the line, people are going, ha ha ha, this is so funny. Abortion, it's such a joke. Makes us flirty. It's totally fine. Like, they are effective. But to The Sims, like, people play your games. People play these types of games. They watch movies. They watch entertainment to escape. Life is already hard enough. This world is disgusting in a dumpster fire. Don't insert more politics into something that people are using as an escape. That's just weird. Leave it alone.
What do you think about her point where she says the left is effective in normalizing things into culture?
I think it's an interesting... I don't really...
Because I do agree with the point that having abortion in the game would help normalize
Yeah,
it.
I guess we're getting better at, and like, is she talking about how there is more like representation now? A lot of the time they're talking about, we have like gay characters in TV shows and stuff, and so we're normalizing it, and we've gotten really good at doing that. But it's also this thing of like, things shouldn't be unnormal in the first place, right? I think what they don't realize is like, adding representation and like normalizing things isn't adding politics. It's almost like taking away politics in a sense of like stopping things from happening is political. Allowing things to happen is just letting people live.
It's a medical procedure. We don't have this kind of debate around knee surgery or whatever. So yeah, exactly. I would agree with that. And same goes for being gay. Like the fact that they politicize being gay whilst in the same breath being like, oh, why is it such a big deal? You keep going on about it. It's like, no,
you do.
Keep going
you
on
do.
about it. I just want to smooch the women. And you're the one who's getting really upset about it.
Yeah, there'll be like one queer character in a TV show and they're like, they're putting politics in my TV show. It's like, no, they're putting people in the TV show and you're for some reason saying it's political. The lack of queer people is political.
Yeah, exactly. Because guess what?
Queer people exist.
Yeah. So you're gonna bump into them in life. I also don't know if I agree with the whole that it's the left. Like, because when she talks about, inserting their political values, like she's referring to things that are like obvious publicity things. So like the M&Ms having female characters, like that's just liberal profit making. It's not like genuine.
No one gives a fuck.
No one does.
No one cares. The left do not care.
No, because it's capitalism.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's conflating those things.
But it's so funny because they also, a lot of the time when they have like things like that happen, they always call it that they're doing it for profit and no one actually cares. Like, they say that.
Yeah,
They're
they
like, they're
acknowledge
doing
that.
it. They acknowledge it. They're like, they're just doing it to get money and have people from the left like them. And it's like, yeah, so we agree.
But it doesn't work on the left because they see through it, because it's transparent and because we're against capitalism.
Yeah, they just really don't understand anything. They don't know what leftism actually is.
No, because they conflate it all.
Genuinely have no idea about anything. And they always say so much that, like, the whole thing of, like, you can't even say woman anymore. That's literally not a thing anyone has said, ever.
No.
Except you.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's all culture war bullshit. This is the most culture war thing I've ever seen. Like, this is the perfect capture. Getting outraged about something that just really, truly doesn't matter. Like, no one cares but you, Brett. And it's like, you're gonna be fine. It's alright. Take a chill pill, is what I would say. I know you shouldn't tell women to calm down, but you need to chill. So I think that's enough for one day. It's funny we had so much to say about a video that's 7 minutes and 44 seconds with a title that's so simple. This is disgusting. Powerful statement. It's a powerful statement. But yeah, Brett, you've done it again. You've managed to kind of make a video about nothing. And I admire that. Oh, the description. Who created this? Just sick. It's like, yeah, it's sick. Yeah, I agree.
We get to interpret it however we want. That's how we choose to interpret it. I agree.
You're right. Yeah. Well, thank you for that entertainment, Brett. And thank you, Smana, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It was a good time. As good of a time as watching Brett Cooper can be.
Yes, that's true. Wait, I'm gonna get the dog. She didn't want to be here for the most of the recording because she's scared of the microphone. Are you scared of the microphone, you silly girl?
It's such a great...
Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. I even wore cow earrings today.
I know. Oh, just the
Dressed for the
level
occasion.
of effort. I really appreciate. Unlike Brett's videos. Real. Lots of love. We will see you all in the next one. Actually, we're recording one for Kiwis. So, lots of love. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.